Hey everybody, so this video is going to be nice and short, sweet, right to the point. We're going to be talking about the event going on in Port Townsend, Washington, in the very northeastern tip of the Olympic Peninsula that is going to be taking place on September 3rd. This is in response to what happened on August 15th, where a bunch of elderly women and a couple men were attacked by a bunch of far left crazies waving their little rainbow flags and assaulting these elderly people, trying to break their equipment and interrupt their press conference, aka rally, that was going on for a woman named Julie, who was kicked out of the YMCA, also the city pool that's just managed by the YMCA, by the way, for not being very happy that a man was in the women's locker room there as she was showering and little girls were changing their clothes. So there you go. People were not very happy that these elderly people got attacked by these other crazy people. So needless to say, it's caused a little bit of outrage. This has made national news. People have talked about it on Fox, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post. All these guys have talked about what happened in Port Townsend, Washington. Of course, everybody has a different bend and idea on how they feel about it. But before we get a little too lost in the weeds here with some of the things that have happened between then and now, I do want to talk about the event first. I want to talk about what's going to be taking place on September 3rd. I want to let everybody know, first of all, it is a permitted event. The police will be putting up barricades separating the two sides if there is, in fact, any opposition coming to stand against people who believe in a woman's right to privacy, who believe that men should not be staring at little girls and women in bathrooms and locker rooms. They're going to be standing up for a mayor that believes in, well, things that you guys are going to be seeing here a bit later. So moving on, I just wanted to take a little brief time as well to talk a little bit about why I'm even involved with this thing. So on August 15th, I heard about this event that was going to be taking place up in Port Townsend, hosted by a lady named Amy Sousa. I believe that's her last name. And she is a TERF. For those of you who don't know what a TERF is a trans exclusionary radical feminist. In other words, a feminist, somebody who believes that women's rights should matter and that women should have a right to privacy and so on. But she's a feminist, like man-hating feminist, and we'll get into that here in a second. So there was this event. I'm not going to waste any time talking about it because there's lots of videos already that I've posted about it. So if you want to look at them, go ahead, check them out. So after that event, after the women were attacked and so on, and people saw it, and it got all over the media, got out on Fox and MSNBC, ABC, all those guys, and Washington Post, New York Times, everybody talked about it for about a day. And Fox, of course, talked about it for a couple more days, but it hit national news. And people were pretty outraged by this, right? They were not very happy. So I had a few people reach out to me, and they were like, hey, we should do an event. And everybody knows that I don't like hosting events. I like being a journalist. I like filming events. And besides giving advice, maybe behind the scenes here and there, that's about as far as I want to go with them. Well, so when I had this group of people contact me saying they want to host this event, they were like, we need somebody to like be the face of it. So I reached out to Amy and I was like, hey, Amy, there's some people that want to host it. They want to do an event. They want to go. Everybody's available for this day. Would you like to be the face of it? Well, she went to the point where she's like, well, I don't like, I need to have all control over this. I need to know exactly everybody who's involved. I need to know the names of everybody, contact information with everybody. She just went completely nutso over the whole thing, just needing to have all that control. And maybe she's just new to the area, new to the political scene, new to how the left operates. I don't know. But that wasn't ever going to happen. I'm not going to sit there and give a list of all the people involved to anybody, much less somebody that I don't really know. And it's just not going to happen because, well, a lot of lives have been ruined just because the left is the most intolerant, hateful bunch of bigots there are, even though they like to call, us that, which is hilarious. Anyway, so so she ends up, and I'm like, okay, cool. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. No big deal. I'll find somebody else. Somebody else will be more than happy to do it. That's fine. And that was that for me. And she kept on asking questions, and I was like, well, no, you don't want to do this. You don't want to be a part of this. That's fine. No big deal. Moving on. And so she puts out this press release naming me and all this other crap, and denouncing the event and saying that Julie has nothing to do with this event, which she doesn't. And but part of her statement, and funny enough, other groups put out similar statements stating that they don't agree with my message, or with the message that were on the flyers. Now, I'm going to show you these flyers, and we're going to talk about them and why, just why this doesn't really make sense to me. Because, again, common sense conservative here. Common sense. Maybe you guys can explain these in the comments. So the first one here that I'm showing you guys says, women have fought for hundreds of years to get the rights that they now enjoy, to vote, to own property, against violence, and privacy. Men are trying to take away any and all privilege that is a result of that fight. The fight isn't over. Take a stand, Saturday, blah, 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 right? So that's the first one. What don't you agree with here? Are not men trying to take away your right to privacy? Yes, they are. They're trying to literally jump in to all of the privileges that women have gained from all of these rights that they have been fighting for hundreds of years. Sports, literally everything. It's just everything. Okay. So the next one, if you won't stand up to keep men out of women's locker rooms and bathrooms for your wives and daughters, what will you stand for? I don't know. What does she doesn't like about that? Maybe because it's geared towards men. Maybe that's what she doesn't like, because she's a radical feminist. The far left calls her a TERF. Now, she's a lefty herself, okay? But that kind of makes sense, I guess, if she doesn't like the messaging that's geared towards men, trying to get men to stand up for their wives and daughters. I don't know. I'm just assuming things. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. So the next one is this rhetoric okay from a mayor and city council member? Take a stand for decency. And the thing on the left there, it's literally a city council person for the city of Port Townsend who is excusing sexual abuse, rape, pretty much saying if you're a victim, you need to get over it. It's no reason for you to not like men in your restroom or locker room just because men have done you really wrong. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. It's horrifying, to be honest. And then, of course, the mayor, David over there, Pee-wee did nothing wrong, talks about doing stuff with chickens and dogs. It's pretty disgusting. Does she not like that? Is she all about that? Is she all for, excusing violence towards women? Is she all good with bestiality and all that stuff? I don't understand exactly what the messaging that she doesn't really like here is. But she really made a point of saying that she doesn't like the messaging that's coming about this event. So let's see, what's this next one here say? I do not believe that men should be allowed to stare at my wife or daughter in a locker room or restroom at any time ever. Even what he pretends to be is entirely irrelevant. Again, maybe she doesn't like this because it's geared towards men. Don't know. Maybe because it's a man on the picture. I don't know. It doesn't, I'm not quite grasping what, again, is so bad with this. But I will tell you guys, though, that there will be people who are going to be standing up against this messaging in Port Townsend on September 3rd. What? I don't understand it. I don't get it personally. But anyway, moving on. And here is stand for decency, hashtag let Julie swim. Tell the pervert mayor and his goons that Washingtonians will not stand for men in women's locker rooms, watching women shower and little girls change their clothes. Again, what part of messaging here do you not agree with? Oh, but I will tell you that in her little press release, she said that I stole her hashtag without her, permission. because hashtags can only be used with somebody's permission, because that's how hashtags work. Hashtags only can be used by the person who invented them in the first place, and or who's been given permission to use them. Even though, funny story, she didn't create that hashtag. Candace Mercer did, who was there on the 15th and who will be there on the 3rd as well. She actually created the Let Julie Swim thing, but Amy, because she's such a wonderful little narcissist, claimed it for herself and said, nobody can play with my toys except for me, because that's how it works on Twitter and social media and everything. I create the hashtag common sense. Nobody else can use that ever, because that's bad. So don't use it, you silly goose. It's amazing. And then, of course, I used a picture of Julie, which apparently really offended Amy, because that's what was used on every single piece of news release about the event and what was going on. Literally everything. MSNBC, Washington Post, New York Times, Fox News. Everybody used that picture. So, again, she she owns it somehow. I don't get it. These people are adorable. But anyway, so moving on from the people trying to disparage this event, and from people trying to talk crap about this event and trying to fearmonger about this event, let me tell you exactly how the 3rd is supposed to go. So we've already covered the park, the rules of the park: no clubs, no bats, no weapons, and so on and so forth. Be careful. Washington State has a stupid law that says if there's 15 or more people, you're not allowed to open carry at a political gathering. However, if you have a concealed carry permit, you are more than welcome to do so, according to state law. Concealed carry, that is. But yeah, it's supposed to be a pretty good event. There's going to be some speakers. There's going to be people who were attacked on the 15th. They will be there. They will be speaking. There are going to be people coming from all over the place. It should be good. The conversation I had with the chief of police was very, very good. Very productive. There's a good plan for everything, and it should be a pretty secure deal. If you want to go into the park, you must not bring those items. However, it sounds like if you do bring those items, you can stay outside of the park, but then you are at your own risk when it comes to the counter protests if one shows up, which, I mean, I don't know why would you? Why would you possibly counter something like this? You're literally admitting that you're for perverts, pedophiles, and so on. It's amazing. But I'll bet there will be at least some. I bet there will be at least some people there going, yeah, we think men should totally be able to stare at old ladies and kids. Yeah, it's just gross. Like, it's really disgusting. And honestly, if you're not going to stand up for something, why? I mean, if you're not going to stand up for this, if you're a decent human being and you're not going to, like, actually get off the couch and get out and show up to something like this, like, you're not going to stand up for anything. Like, you're legit going to be that whole story. Well, first it came for these guys, but I wasn't one of them, so I was fine. And then they came for those guys, but I wasn't one of them, so I'm fine. And then they came for these guys, but I wasn't one of them either, and so I was fine. And then they came for me, and there was nobody left. Huh, weird. It's truly fascinating to me how many rights Americans are willing to just give up because they're like, we'll be fine. No big deal. Like, we're watching our country like dissolve and decay into the ether right now, and people are still cool with it. Like, it's amazing to me. But so it should be interesting. I'll definitely be live streaming it, and I'll be filming it as well. So if you can make it, if you live in the Pacific Northwest, this would be a great event to go to. I will be speaking at this event, so, hey, what's up? It should be a good one. It should be safe. It should be very productive, and it should give the attention that this issue really needs, the attention it deserves, honestly. So I hope to see some of you guys there, and if not, then I hope you're watching on the 3rd. But before I close this thing out, there's another message from one of the co-organizers of this event that I wanted to include in this video, and I'll end it with this, and I will see you guys later.
the police were here to help keep everybody in order. Where's the Port Townsend Police Department?
Did you see how afraid that old woman, that elder, looked in that video? Did you see the fear on the woman of color? Do you hear her saying, I wish the police were here? Ma'am, I know you won't come march with us, and I know you won't come join us on September the 3rd because you've been made afraid. And they all want you to be afraid because that's what bad people do. They use fear. I don't want anybody to be afraid. My name is Eric Rohde, and I'm a 3%er, and I'm helping to organize the event on September the 3rd at Pope Marine Park in Port Townsend. And I hope to God that you all join us. On bended knee, I have prayed to God that people will stand with us. But if it's just me and a couple of homies talking about why we don't think that it's right for men to intimidate women, for men to dismiss, and women to dismiss other women's trauma, that includes rape, molestation, domestic abuse, if we don't think it's right for these people to suddenly glom onto what has been true feminist activism and women's liberation and gay rights, to derail it and to turn it into some sort of satanic shit show where now men can sit there and stare at little girls while they take off their panties, then I'm that extremist. And so are my homies. They all want you to be afraid. They don't want you to come. I got people on the left telling you not to come because they're gonna do their Antifa shit. I got people on the right that are all like Admiral Akbar saying it's a trap. Just keep our heads down. Patriots are control. Whatever you do, don't do anything. Okay, that's how your opposition, and we have opposition, how that gain material advantages, spatial advantages, and tempo. No, we need proud men and women, gay, straight, people of color to stand up and say, listen, there's a lot of colors in the LGBTQ rainbow, but pedophilia is not one of them. The event is permitted. It's legal, it's lawful. There's going to be police standing by at Pope Marine Park to protect your First Amendment right. So I hope you all come out and you join us. But if you don't, it'll be just me and the homies.